And if you can train yourself to do the hard thing, to do the thing like exercise or do the thing like eat vegetables, do the thing that you don't want to do, you'll avoid things that you do want to avoid, like sickness and being severely overweight, being having chronic inflammation in your body. Some people aren't even overweight. They just look a certain way because they're carrying inflammation from the way that they're eating. They're just carrying it. And inflammation packs on pounds. It has absolutely nothing to do with their food intake, because once you get rid of inflammation, a person will look like they lost weight. And the scale won't show any difference, but they'll look more lean, and you're wondering why. It's because their body isn't in a chronic state of inflammation, fighting itself, fighting just to survive. Because the chronic inflammatory substances are things like white sugar, white flour, ultra processed foods. We're not supposed to do that just because we're sabotaging ourselves. Gluttony is a sin against your own body. That's really what it is. You are sinning against the body that God gave you. You are doing that. We always talk about sins that make you sin against your own body, and typically masturbation and sexual sin is always mentioned as a sin against your own body, right? However, and even homosexuality, a lot of times that, we hear that preached to the pulpit, it's a sin against your own body. Premarital sex, it's a sin against your own body. But do you know that gluttony, that is the same thing, but it's not mentioned because it's an acceptable sin. Also, that goes along with emotional numbing is that compulsive eating that we were just talking about. And that is a control issue, and that comes from trauma. So let's say that when you would struggle at home, maybe you were bullied when you were little, or you would encounter things. And so you would have lunch by yourself because you had shame. You were afraid of people looking at you eat. Sometimes if people struggle with body image, they can't even eat in a public setting. They have to eat in closets. People with eating disorders, you'll notice that they will eat in closets or in a pantry, and they'll wolf like 5 cookies down and then come out because they don't want anybody to see them eating. That could be crucial in addressing underlying trauma and developing healthier coping mechanisms. But we're also going to talk about to declare and decree and do some deliverance and do some inner healing to get some of that out. But listen, therapy is important. That is absolutely right, Dr. Gore, 100%. Therapy does teach coping skills, which is why I'm a strong proponent of both. And people always say, oh, you don't need that. People don't need that. And I'm like, please don't be foolish. Like, please don't be those people. Okay. Because, there's inner healing and there's deliverance, but there's also therapy. And those are wonderful, wonderful, important ways of healing as well. And when we pretend that it's not necessary, we're only being foolish. We sound foolish sometimes when we're like, oh no, we don't need that. Sometimes people need therapy, the things that they have gone through, and there's nothing wrong with that. Okay. So I want to encourage you to examine your heart.